Alright, today we're diving into what is in my bag. Alright, welcome back or welcome in. We're diving into what I've got in my bag after my first 7 months of playing. So I started in March, and we're looking at this being, as of today, November. So this is essentially my first season, so let's figure out what I have in my bag after my first season. And I can tell you there have been a lot of changes from the time I started to now. For starters, I had one of the little grabbers, but my suction cup keeps breaking off, so that's sad and unfortunate. And then I have a slingshot. I don't know how YouTube feels about that as a weapon and whether or not that messes with the video, so I'm not going to show it. But I do have one of the little wrist slingshots in there to help me get my disc stuck from in trees. I have my powder bag, which I'm still looking for a better powder bag. I don't actually like the one I have, and I keep losing my little moisture wicking bead bag, so I need a new one of those as well. But I usually have those in there.
Oh, hi.
What happened?
Oh,
Yeah?
I pass you.
Yeah, it's fine. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, now go back over there.
Huh?
So,
Right.
I hear you. You can sit down. Help me. So I guess for starters, I have this Watt in my bag, which is mostly just here because I picked it up at...
I doggy.
Yeah, it's a doggy. I picked it up at the end of season league event we had. They did a little auction dealio, and I picked up the Watt. So I've seen it in a couple videos from other people and figured I'd try it out. So it's in there so I can get an idea on what it does, because I don't know, maybe it'll be useful, maybe it won't. And then I've started putting with the AB Focuses, the CT Swirls. My son is getting in my bag. If you've been watching for a minute, you know I was putting with the Lunas, but I've noticed that those fade out more when I am throwing, and I keep flashing in front of the basket, so I try to get more of a point-to-chain putter. So far, it seems like it's working. I have to get used to it, but it is functioning the way I'd want it to so far, but it's a work in progress. All right, then I have my Berg. This is basically I'll throw it off the tee for anything less than 200 feet, probably. It's the K1 Soft, so I like that if it's a dangerous green, I can throw it up there, know that this thing is going to sit. It's typically not going to bounce and roll away. I'm not going to get any crazy skips or anything like that. I like it a lot. I'm actually wanting to try the Sten, but I've not got my hands on one yet because I am looking for the Berg Flight with a bit more glide. Because I've put this disc on so many ace runs just for it to fall out of the sky 10, 15 short of the basket, and I'm still hunting for that first ace. So if I get a disc that flies like the Berg and just glides a bit further, then I'd love that. A buddy of mine actually let me try a range recently, which the hand feel is very similar, but I noticed it wasn't quite as stable as the Berg is, so I was missing out on that front. So I don't know if I'll choose to keep that around, but... Jawbreaker Zone, I guess I'll go straight into the other ones. Zone SS and Zone OS. There you go, it's a bottom stamp. My Jawbreaker Zone, I actually just picked this one up. I had the ESP Flex, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to use this for the most, but it's essentially 240 and below off the tee. The Zone SS, bit of a turn, flip up. Hyzer disc, or Hyzer flat disc. I'm actually learning this disc more. I can't wait to get another field day in where I just focus on seeing the angles on this disc and what it wants to do and how it reacts to the different angles. I definitely need more experimenting with it, but so far I really like this disc, and I think the better I get with the angle control on it, the more I'm actually going to reach for it. The Zone OS, this I'm actually throwing more now that I'm getting a little more comfortable with stability. Because before, the stability, I just never, I don't know, it always felt like not useful to me. But now that I'm getting a little bit more angle control, I'm starting to see the versatility of something stable, not to mention the consistency of it as the season started shifting and it's gotten much windier, that the stability to be able to fight that has been really nice. Knowing what I'm going to get out of the flight of the disc has been great. That being said, this balance that I have, Simon Line, fits straight into that. as far as it kind of becoming like my staple mid-range. Here, punk, stop throwing stuff at me. And something I've been leaning on a lot lately for those heavy fade shots, the big hyzers from anything 260 and below. It's definitely become something that is kind of a workhorse for me. I grabbed it at the beginning mostly because I like the stamp, and so far, the more I throw it, the more I fall in love with that disc. I also threw this Bel Air in there recently. I had a Buzz SS, and I tried the Buzz, but they tended to turn more than I was looking for out of that slot. I wanted something that was straight with a little less fade, that consistent fade, and the Bel Air so far has slotted into that very, very well. Given the fall season right now, I haven't thrown it that much. It's one that gets lost in the leaves a little bit. So it's kind of stayed parked in my bag unless it's just something I can't avoid and I need that flight. But it slots in pretty well as that mostly neutral to stable mid-range. My understable mid-slot goes to Meteor. I'm still getting better with this disc, hitting the angles a little more consistently. Getting into my SD cards. Something I can throw flat to turn. Again, something else I need to get to field day for. Hopefully I can get a lot of that done this winter, because I definitely still plan on going out to play. Then I have a Crave. I actually found this. Reached out to the owner. Nobody ever got back to me. So I now have this in my bag. I have two others of these. I have a glow plastic, a purple one, which I refuse to bag, and then this one, which I'm going to be honest, I don't like this stamp that much, but it's the one that I have that is easiest to see, but it kind of slots in with that Bel Air, and the blends too much into the leaves coloring, so it is also getting left in the bag for right now until some of these leaves fade away. But this is my low ceiling 260 and below disc. I can get a little bit more on it if I want. I actually have a video coming out soon where you'll be fine. All better. All better. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. I almost got an ace with this in my backyard course the other day. Oh, thank you. So that was kind of exciting. Also extremely disappointing because I really thought it was going to go in. I hope that the lighting wasn't so bad I could actually get the angle on it. But the more I throw that disc, the better I'm getting with it, and the more I'm understanding its versatility. Then I have the Leopard 3. This is actually one of the first discs I bought once I actually started really getting into it. My buddy took me to a disc golf store, and we picked out a handful of discs, and this was one of them, and it's stayed in my bag as kind of a staple since then. It gets a little bit of turn on those flat shots with some consistent fade. If I put it on a little bit of hyzer, it'll flip up with a little baby turn and flex back. It's a pretty versatile disc, and the more my angle control improves, the better that disc actually gets for me. So I'm excited to see how that progresses, as it's kind of been a baseline in my improvements. Okay, then I have the Function, which is kind of a roller disc for me. I've also noticed that it is a really good, if I throw it on a bit of hyzer, and it'll flip up, turn, and flex back. And for my arm speed, with it being an 8-speed, much more controllable. Kind of like my Mamba was. I actually just took that out of my bag recently. So it's kind of something that I've been able to lean on for those long, massive hyzer flip flex shots, and I probably don't reach for it as much as I should. Okay, then I have my Essence. This is my go-to gap hitter. Hyzer flip to flat, which for whatever reason I've been putting it on too much hyzer recently. I'll have to dial that in, but that's not the point. It feels great. It's a neoplastic. I really want this disc dyed. This white is just so boring. But anyway, this is one of my go-to discs right now. It's kind of one of my favorites. I played around with a couple of my buddies, or my buddy and his family the other day, where most of them have never played. So I didn't bring my whole bag. I just took 3 discs, and I took my Berg, my Essence, and my putter. My Essence can basically hit any angle, make any throw that I want to have. For the most part, and I know that disc can pretty much do it all. So, big fan of it. So then I have my FD3, which this is a disc, the better I get with stability, the more I've began to reach for it. I I really like it for low skip shots, something that I need to get under a ceiling and then get that flare skip back. It's been a really great addition to my throwing repertoire as I've gotten more competent and comfortable with throwing discs with more stability and kind of moved away from that understable bag that I had prior to. Now, that being said, remind you, I can't throw forehands. I have a video coming out on that later as well, but it just doesn't go well. My forehand is just awful. So I try to keep understability in for that, if at all possible. Which, going into that understability, Osprey. I really liked this disc when I threw it the other day for the Ken Clymer review. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It felt really good. It may end up replacing the function, but I kind of think I like that function as a slower speed option. But it did replace the Mamba, so something newer, a bit more visible, because that Mamba was purple. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I don't like purple discs. I had a few and I've slowly been phasing them out because purple just vanishes and it just so hard to find them. Then I have PD. My PD is the flex disc in my bag. I throw this on an Anheuser. It is consistent fade back. It being a 10 speed, it's a lot more controllable for me. I can throw this disc and know what I'm going to get from it pretty much every time it comes out of my hand. If it's a bad shot, then it's because of me. I have no faith lost in this disc, just my ability to throw it correctly. And then I have my Beast. When I was at school and we were stuck in the hotel room, my buddy is like, hey, you want to go play disc golf? And I was like, man, I haven't played disc golf since high school. Like, I played around with it a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I have nothing better to do. Let's go play. I remember it being pretty fun. We stopped by Dick's, and this was the first disc I bought. It looked halfway decent. I bought this, and I don't even remember the putter I bought because I didn't keep it, but I bought 2 discs. I bought this and a putter, and this disc has stayed in my bag ever since. It is kind of a workhorse disc for me. If I need something long pushing hyzer, this is what I'm going to reach for and throw. It's got some stability where it can flex back. It can hyzer flip to flat with maybe a little bit of turn. I can get a consistent 325 to 350 out of this disc pretty much every time I throw it, which for me, pretty good considering like 380 is about my max, and that's like perfect disc, conditions, line, the whole 9. So moving on, my Wraith. This is actually a light Wraith. It's 168, and it's still so stable. Yeah, I get it. It's Halo plastic, but I'm waiting for it to beat in because it's nothing like everybody says a Wraith is supposed to be. So I'm fighting through, keeping it in there, trying to beat in the stability. Eventually, one of either this disc or one of the next 2 is going to go. I'm leaning between this and one other one. I think this next one is safe, which is that Q-Line DD3. And what I really love about this disc is the fact that I can put it on that massive turnover line, and it just holds the angle all the way through. It'll flex out to flat and just land. So there's no cut roll at the end. It just eases in nice and slow, drops in, and it doesn't add the 50 feet like I've heard that it can do, but it has added a little bit of distance. Now, I don't know if that's mental or just the way I throw it in comparison, but all in all, I really do like this disc. So, anyway. Then I have the Destroyer. It's actually a buddy of mine. He let me borrow it so I could test it out. This is the first disc I've hit 400 feet with, so that was fun. I was out in the field, hit like 404 feet with it. There was a bit of a right to left wind. I threw it on a slight Anheuser. It kind of just pushed back, fought into the wind, and it just kept going and going, and I don't think that is indicative of my normal throwing by any means, but hey, I'll take it. It was 400 feet for the first time, so I'll take it. That new Tales of Terror trail, fun fact, I've actually decided to keep both in my bag. This works really well for that long pushing turnover line. That's not the crazy hook that you get, but if I have a tight fairway, I put it on a little bit of hyzer, let it flip up to flat, and it can just follow that fairway through, and it just works really well. This has kind of become a bomber disc for me with a little bit of extra stability. I can put it on a little bit of Anheuser and get a nice, beautiful flex line out of it. It'll fade back, very consistent. I need to get some more throws with it just so I get a little more comfortable with the angle and where exactly it needs to be to get the flight that I want. But all in all, it feels amazing, and I believe there's a spot to keep both of these in my bag and actually have it make sense, whereas I wasn't sure on that originally. But that is currently my bag after my first 7 months playing, essentially my first season of playing. I do plan on playing throughout the winter. I hear there's a difference in how discs fly in the winter, so if you have any insight on that, please let me know. That way I can adjust my bag accordingly if need be. I've got about 60 other discs sitting in an extra bag. Yeah, just a second, Bubby. Eventually, I want to get a little studio set up for myself, so when I need to record, I don't have to do it on the living room floor. But for now, this is what we've got going. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know if you guys see any overlap. But this has been Disc Daddy from Diapers to Drivers. Until next time. Yeah, he's so cute.